What's going on, guys, and welcome back. By the time you guys are watching this, there should be a little link to a little survey down below if you would want to take some time into just some general Lorcana questions like favorite deck, favorite fabled card, things like that. I just want to interact with the community a little bit. I'm going to post it all over Facebook too, see how many people answer, see how competitive players answer, and just put all that information in a video. I'm really curious just to see where the overall player base kind of ranks a bunch of general questions. Again, it's nothing crazy. Take probably 2 minutes, but if you don't want to do it, that's perfectly fine as well. So today we have another deck template to go over, and just like the other ones, it's a deck that I sat down, tried to think it through, and actually put good thought into it. How many times can we say think thought in a string of sentences? And bringing you guys very strong starting points. Whether they stick through and you don't change anything, that would be crazy, but little changes are probably bound to happen. But even without that, I think that these, like I said, very strong starting points. Any of these videos that you're seeing this early in a format, especially before the format's even legal, you have to know that there needs to be more testing. And here's the thing, you can have a completely fine-tuned, like my blurple list. I personally don't want to change a single thing. It has been running so smooth. Like, I was going to insert a really corny phrase there, but I'm going to actually skip over that one. But that doesn't mean as the format goes on, I'm not going to make small changes and iterations just based on what decks are most prevalent, what decks are here and there. Just as the format goes, I think all decks really should do that. Like, you probably have like 4 to 12 flex spots that, depending where you play, and depending where the format is currently sitting, those 4 to 12 spots just kind of fluctuate between a handful of cards, and that's just kind of how things go. 11 uninkables, 60 cards, blue and green. Let's go. So in our 1-drop spot, this deck isn't really a quick deck. It can lose to aggro, but when you talk about control decks, it's probably going to do really well into most of them because you just have a better top end. You have a better answer as the game progresses. You have a strong finish. How do you get there, though? But we got 4 Clarabelles on 1, and that's it for our characters, at least. Into 2. 2 is so important to ramp that we have Tipo, and you know we're going to be playing Sail, but also Ursula. Not only can you affect your opponent's flow a little bit, hit some songs. There's some pretty good songs in the game still. Standout, incredible. Eye to Eye, very strong. Be King, Pirate's Life, Mother Knows Best, You're Welcome. There's still so many good songs, Strength of the Raging Fire, in the format that are going to be meta relevant, that Ursula definitely earns her spot to stay in here. Lewis. You might have a slow start, but you can get to Lewis by turn 3 even if you miss your ramp. So if you need to go like Ursula or Vision, if you're wondering other 2-drops we're playing, if you need to go like Ursula or Vision on 2, don't feel too bad because Lewis is a great aggro answer on 3 just to kind of help slow them down. Possibly my favorite card of the format. It's a card that I've tested in blue decks before and kind of didn't play her maybe the way I should have, but having tested Kita a lot right now, this card is so incredibly strong. Like, you get her down on 3 in a ramp deck, and then from there on you just start using her ability all the time, and it sucks if there's 2 bad cards at the top of your deck, I'm not gonna lie, but if there's 2 bad cards, if one's uninkable, you put it into your inkwell. Most of your uninkable cards aren't bad, so that's a good sign. But bad for the scenario might be a better way to describe that, because then you know you're drawing into the other card, you can go ahead, you can ink it, and you can just be good that way. But I've had so many games like getting 12, 13, 14 ink just because you get her down early and you ramp so hard at that point. Not only do you ramp, though, you use her ability and you see Hades Tipo. Okay, Tipo's gone, I get Hades next turn. Awesome. I just tutored my draw into a good card when it would have been a bad card. And sometimes you hit 2 good cards, so you pick the better for that scenario. Just like when you hit 2 bad cards, you pick the better for that scenario. And by pick, I mean leave on top of the deck and get the worst card into your inkwell. But she is so so underrated compared to what I was expecting. And maybe she pairs up with Mufasa really nicely, because then you can start just inking good cards in the hopes that Mufasa hits those good cards, and now you get them good cards back to your hand. In addition to that, nice little synergy that can play off there. But I think Kita is super, super strong and has been my early format favorite card of the entire format. If your opponent plays this card, you're going to want to remove her pretty much right away when you're able to. Being a 3/3 means she's not incredibly hard to remove, but she can be a little pesky at times, having ward especially. But to use her ability, they do have to exert her, so she's going to be vulnerable more often than not. We're playing a handful of songs that he can use, so I'm actually playing Max Goof at 4, not playing the smaller Goof who can get you the 3-cost or lower song back from the discard. He just kind of, he's more or less a 4-cost card because he costs 3, you pay 1 to use him, so he fits the curve of the deck. I just didn't know that his impact was high enough, whereas on the other side, a 4/5 inkable 2-quester who can potentially sing an additional song, or I guess he doesn't sing the song, he just plays it for free, can be really, really strong, especially when we're talking about things like You're Welcome and Clarabelle, because if you get your Clarabelle down, or say you already have your Clarabelle, you could go like shift Clarabelle, sing You're Welcome, remove card, they draw 2 cards, Max Goof quests, get 2 lore, replay You're Welcome, hit another one of their characters or cards in general, draw 2 more cards. Now in the end step, they just drew 4 cards this turn. Your Clarabelle's going to draw a whole bunch more cards, and that means you might draw into things like Bend to My Will, Under the Sea, blowout cards that when your opponent tries to come back next turn on the clapback, you just have a better answer than they do. And it can be just so detrimental. That's why I think Max Goof just really does deserve a spot in this deck personally. I debated, I'm like, do I really want to lab a blue-green deck? And I'm not saying this is the best version, ideal, where this deck ends up. I'm just saying, do I really want to help to contribute to making a deck that is really good against the deck I want to play? So I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? People are going to play it. If it's that good, people are really going to play it. I got to get used to it anyway. I might as well play the heck out of the deck, learn it in and out, learn all the weaknesses, and learn how to play against it. Go play, because I'm talking about Blurple. I'm planning on playing this deck a lot, because it's a deck that I don't want to say worried about, but a little worried about for Blurple. I think it's unfavorable. Not unwinnable, but unfavorable. So I really want to grind this deck out, play against other Blurple decks. See, what do they try to do? What do they do that works against this? Because then as a Blurple player, I can be like, okay, they did that. I can incorporate that or try that. Or they tried this, didn't work at all. I don't want to try that. So sometimes to learn how to play, this is a little competitive tip for you guys, to learn how to play your deck, sometimes you need to play other decks and hope you go against your deck and see how other people play your deck, because now you get their thought process on your deck, whereas you don't just play your deck into this matchup and be like, okay, that's how I need to do that. Sometimes, especially when it's a bad matchup, you play that deck and see how other people navigate the matchup to give yourself ideas. Just a little competitive tidbit on how to truly understand a meta. You can't just play your deck and grind it out a ton. If you really want to know the format, play as many decks as you can, learn as many decks as you can, see how people play against those decks with your deck, and then go back to testing your deck and test, but incorporate what other people do. Play testing groups also where you can bounce ideas off of each other, play with a almost hands up scenario or open hands where you can see and talk about best play lines. Things like that are just all incredibly useful. Hades, a very, very strong card in the format. So happy this card got reprinted. Then we can go ahead a little bit further. We got Develop Your Brain, Sail the Azurite Sea, Visions of the Future, and then 2 Bend to My Will. So a whole bunch of consistency with a little ramp and then some top end. And if you look at the deck, that's kind of what we got here, right? You got the shift line, which ties into consistency, a little utility, ramp, anti-aggro, ramp, top end. Like just about everything here gets you to that top end. You got Clarabelle, which the shift line gets you to top end. Ursula's kind of there for utility. Ramp from Kita and Tipo get you to the top end. Lewis slows your opponent down, which gets you to the top end. And then your top end. But again, consistency, ramping consistency, consistency, top end. And then we have 16 songs. Mother Knows Best, Standout, You're Welcome. These 3 early songs, especially these are the 3 that your max goof is going to be able to replay from the discard. Standout, getting the evasive +3 also, like this card is so good. I like this card so much, and being able to double play it, giving other characters evasive, and sometimes you just want to give your max evasive so they can't deal with it. They can't get rid of it, or your Clarabelle evasive, and Clarabelle is a beast of an evasive card. If you give her the evasive and you give her the +3, well, now she's got 8 strength. She can take out a library in one swing. She can take out a Monstro in one swing because of Standout. And you don't even necessarily have to use Standout that way. Like if it's already in your discard, you just quest your max, replay it for free for your Clarabelle, and go on from there. Also being able to just take out a half shark then too, a nice little trade-off. Mother Knows Best, bouncing cards, setting that tempo, really slowing your opponent. Mother Knows Best and You're Welcome, both helping tie into the Clarabelle lines. Just being able to put cards back in your opponent's hand, increase their hand size, decrease their board size. Very helpful. Control the tempo, control their hand, draw more cards. Everyone likes those kinds of things. Heads Held High. So this is a 6-cost Sing Together song. Remove 3 damage from any number of chosen characters. And then you can't see it because the price point, but all opposing characters get -3 strength this turn. It's Kita. Downside is you need either 6 or 8 singing power on board, and you need the opposite in ink. So if you have 8 sing power on board, then you can go ahead, hard play the Heads Held High for 6, remove damage, everything gets -3 on your opponent's board, and then you Sing Together Under the Sea. Or if you can Sing Together Heads Held High, you can hard play the Under the Sea. So you Sing Together Heads Held High, everything -3, hard play Under the Sea. These two, it's not quite as simple as the Kita Under the Sea combo, right? I mean, I guess it only costs 1 more ink, so it's not that much harder, but we don't have the singers like Amber Emerald had in that deck. So this isn't really plan A. That's probably the best way to put that. It's not really plan A. That's why we're playing 2 and 2 of them. Bent to My Will, also another game-ending card that you can go. Other things I've thought about are Ratigan and Mufasa in that 8-drop spot. Just really, really strong closers that force an answer from your opponent. Do either one end up seeing play? I wouldn't be surprised. I really would not. So if I was going to look at another top-end option, it'd probably be those. Ursula is probably the biggest flex spot in the deck. It's not discard-orientated, so if I had to say, you could pull the Ursulas. Probably the first card I would take out would be Ursula if I had to go with anything. And then whether you go for a 4th Hades, whether you go for Mufasas, whether you go for Ratigans, things like that. Like if I were to take anything out, it'd probably be the Ursulas first, and then I would increase the deck as we go there. Or if you're going to go for the smaller max goof, to be able to get your Mother Knows Best, to get your Standout, to grab these cards back from your discard so that you can play them again, and then potentially play them a 3rd time because your shift max goof. Lots of different options here for the deck and where you may or may not want to go with it. Again, if you want to check out that survey, feel free to do it. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the support. As always, like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and take care.